What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog. We're back in Historic here with a mostly mono black style control list. We're splashing blue though for one of the new cards we got from Amonkhet Remastered, the Scarab God. Anybody who was around during the Amonkhet Standard remembers just how powerful the Scarab God was. Super great guard here. If not familiar, it's a 5/5, 4/5. It's a god, legendary. At the beginning of upkeep, each opponent loses X. You strike X for X number of zombies you control. It's certainly the least relevant part of this. That's not really what people are excited about. It's the activated ability here for 4 mana, where you can exile a creature card from a graveyard. That's any graveyard, yours or your opponent's, and you create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. So it is a zombie, so it will give you some of that upkeep action. And it meaning a legendary god, whenever it dies, return to your hand at your end step. So it doesn't have it's not like some of the gods like we've seen in more recent sets where they have if they die or get exiled, you put them into your library third from the top. This one, if it's only a dies trigger, so it can be exiled. So that is something to be mindful of. Also, if you are playing Historic, definitely make sure you have some exile. Try to have some exile effects wherever you can to deal with things like this, because you will come across a Scarab God. And we're doing a very controlling deck as well. So this is mono black before we got Amonkhet, and then Amonkhet came out, and then I kind of tweaked it a little bit to make room. So the main build around here was like cards like Kaervek, the Spiteful. So 3/2 for 4 mana. Other creatures get -1/-1. So that's our creatures as well. But we're not really running a whole lot of creatures. We're more of a mono black kind of a control style list. And we also have 3 copies here of Massacre Wurm. So it's going to get -1 if we have a Kaervek out, but that's fine, because all of our opponent's creatures have -1/-1, and then when Massacre Wurm comes down, they get an additional -2/-2. And anytime a creature dies on our opponent's side, they lose 2 life. So obviously against field decks, this cleans up pretty nicely. Against any other sort of aggro list, we can kind of stall them out. This can do pretty nasty things as well. And yeah, so we got a couple copies here of Thoughtseize, just a couple copies in the main to kind of hit our opponent's hand, see what they're up to. We can kind of plan out our strategy accordingly. 2 copies here of Chainer's Edict. It's nice because we are a control deck and we have the flashback here for 7 mana, so we can basically cast this twice, so it's like having 4 copies. And just says target player sacrifice a creature at sorcery speed. 3 copies of Eliminate, 2 copies of Heartless Act for our removal. Obviously, Heartless Act only hits creatures without counters on them. Eliminate hits creatures or planeswalkers, but mana 3 or less. A couple copies here of Golden Demise. The nice thing about this is with the Ascend of the City's Blessing, 10 or more permanents, that's lands, anything. It's only our opponent's creatures get -2/-2. So our Kaervek doesn't die, our Massacre Wurm isn't affected, and things like that. So it's just kind of a one-sided board wipe once you get up to that City's Blessing. And if you cast this on turn 3 or 4, then it's just kind of you probably don't have any creatures out anyway, and it's going to be wiping your opponent's board either way. A couple copies here of Murderous Rider, being able to hit creatures with planeswalkers, of course, at lifelinking body. 3 copies of Phyrexian Arena, so we need like lifelink kind of where we can to make up for this Phyrexian Arena, but these are really, really clutch to kind of dig you for what you're looking for. So we're already in 3 copies here. Don't want all 4 because that's a little overkill. 2 isn't quite enough. I think 3 seems like the sweet spot. 3 copies here of Dread Presence. It's a way to kind of make up for some of that life gain. Since we're base black, all we have to do is just drop a swamp, and we can choose to deal 2 damage to a target and gain 2 life, or we can draw a card and take 1 life. Just kind of depends on where we're at in the game. And 3 copies here of Kaervek. It is legendary, so just 3 copies feels right. 1 copy here of Vraska's Contempt. Our 4-drop slot is pretty full with Dread Presence and Kaervek, so 1 copy here of Vraska's Contempt. Exile a creature or planeswalker, gain some life. Life gain's pretty clutch. God-Eternal Bontu is in here. You know, it's a pretty solid creature in and of itself. 5/6 menace. Like I said, this is one that can dies or exiles. It goes into our library, but it's mostly in here for sacrificing our Phyrexian Arena. If it's chipped away at our life total a little bit too much, then we'll sacrifice those arenas. We still get to draw some cards, of course, and then we have a nice 5/6 out, and we don't have to worry about losing life every turn, especially if our life total has gotten just a little bit too low, which can happen. There's lots of aggro running around Historic that's super powerful. Is going to pressure life total quite a bit, and Phyrexian Arena is a little off, so we do have tons of removal to kind of help out with preserving our life total, but we still need things like Bontu so we don't just die to our own Phyrexian Arenas. And Eldest Reborn is another card that really put in a lot of work in in Dominaria Standard. But it's a pretty sweet card. We have so much early game removal that by the time we get to turn 5 to cast Eldest Reborn, our opponent's probably not going to have too much creatures or planeswalkers on the board, and so those have to sacrifice whatever they have left, or we at least get something, get them to sacrifice something, slow them down just a little bit more, and then we make them discard a card with our second saga, and then the third saga, we get any creature or planeswalker from any graveyard back on the battlefield under our control. We got 2 copies here of Scarab God, it is legendary. 3 copies here of Massacre Wurm, and we're not running any Planeswalkers. We could potentially get something back with Eldest Reborn, but since we're not running Planeswalkers, we just want to shut our opponents down, so we're pretty much like a mono-black kind of hate list. We have lots of creature hate, also some of our removal doubles as Planeswalker removal as well, but also have the Immortal Sun here to completely shut down Planeswalkers, because now you can't activate Planeswalkers' loyalty abilities at all. It doesn't shut down passives. Obviously, Ward of Spark gives quite a few passives, so you have to be mindful of that. So Narset's a little bit of a little bit annoying because we get to draw extra cards with this, but Narset kind of shuts that down, so that is one consideration, things like that. But our spells are cheaper, and our creatures do get +1/+1, so it makes up for Kaervek, giving them -1/-1, so that's pretty sweet. So 25 lands here, a couple of Bojuka Bogs, trying to exile our opponent's graveyard, little main deck 8 for that, it's pretty nice. A couple Castle Locthwains for additional card draw in the late game, 9 Swamps, 4 Drowned Catacombs, 2 Fetid Pools. It's a nice cycling land here from Amonkhet. It's an island swamp, so that's pretty cool. It just costs 2 mana to cycle, but if you do top deck this in the late game, you don't have a Dread Presence out, and you want to just kind of dig for something else, you can just cycle this away. Oh, they can come down on, like, say, turn 1, and then now your Drowned Catacomb can come in to play untapped. 4 Watery Graves here, and 2 Field of Runes. You need some kind of a non-basic hand hate. So I think Field of Ruin fills that slot pretty nicely. You can also kind of trigger our blow up one of our opponent's non-basics, and then we get like another swamp out with it, because we get to get a basic as well as our opponent, and then we can get another trigger for Dread Presence if we have that up, so that's pretty cool. Sideboard here, we got 2 more Thoughtseizes, 2 Grafdigger's Cage, 3 Negates, 1 Tail's End, 2 Noxious Grasp, a couple Witch's Vengeance, 2 Leyline of the Void for some additional graveyard hate, and then 1 Thought Distortion. Just want to make sure we have a much powerful answers for the control matchups. So Negates, Tail's End, and Thought Distortion, along with the Thoughtseize, should give us enough game in those matchups, even though our main deck is pretty focused on creature hate. Alright, so let's jump into some matches and see how we do. Alright, up against Nick Dog. Don't love seeing the Immortal Sun in the opening hand, but Kaervek and Dread Presence and a bunch of lands. I'm not going to complain too much. So hope we find some removal and don't get run over by aggro. And we'll have a chance here. Initial build, I actually had some Mind Stones in here to get like a little bit of ramp, but it's never really felt like it was really that relevant, so I ended up cutting them for more removal. Jungle Hollow. So fun with a budget mana base over there. Oh, they just need to gain life or something. Mire Triton, milling some lands, and Llanowar Visionary. Not sure what that's all about. Well, next turn we got Kaervek, and that's going to wipe out their Mire Triton. Looks like they want stuff in their graveyard, so we'll see how good that ends up being. Deathbloom Thought is now a 2/1, and their 1/1 token is worthless with a Kaervek Howl. But they're in Golgari, so they probably have removal. Not sure what our opponent's up to. Llanowar Visionary and Deathbloom Thought. Rasta. Eldest Reborn, that's pretty good. Make sure we Dread Presence. Actually, no, this is a Catacomb. Yep, stay good. Let's see, next one we have 6 mana. Or 7 mana. see, 1, 2, 3, 5, yeah, 6. So probably just play Immortal Sun. Nightmare Shepherd, that's pretty good. Scarab God. I love that. Let's just play out the Immortal Sun, get some card draw going. What's nice about Kaervek, if we can keep it alive, is the Nightmare Shepherd. If they do choose to exile, it'll just make 1/1s that immediately die to Kaervek. Doubt they're running Planeswalkers, but that's fine. We get the +1/+1, and we get to draw extra cards every turn, so we're happy about that. And thanks to the cost reduction as well, we get to do multiple things. So we're in a decent spot. It's not really too much to do with the Scarab God, who could get a Mire Triton back just to gain some life, but it'll die immediately to Kaervek. Could grab the Llanowar Visionary. Polukranos. Oh, that's pretty nasty. Don't have good answers for that. Our opponent's developed a wide board state, and we haven't really found a whole lot of removal or swamps to start pinging stuff off with, so hopefully we can draw better. Guess I'm just not very good at Magic today. They actually want to bring their Polukranos back to their hand. Okay. So we're going to try to cast that next turn. Murderous Rider. So we can pick off a few things here. I want to go to Vraska, I think. Sure, get a token. So I want to save the Murderous Rider for for the Polukranos. I'll play this down, get a trigger. I think we'll go and pick off the Acolyte. Eldest Reborn not doing too great with this token out, but eventually hopefully we can make it work to our advantage. Right, so they choose to exile it just to make a token that dies immediately, just so they can get some more stuff in their graveyard. Sure. I think we're just Scarab God here. I think next turn we can do some cool stuff. Do we attack? Yeah, we attack. I don't think they have anything here to stop us. Can't we block their Nightmare Shepherd? They play Arasta instead of Polukranos. Could kill their Nightmare Shepherd and then exile it with the Scarab God. That's pretty tempting. Another Kaervek. It's Watery Grave. We'll start picking off these creatures as many as we can. So get another token with the Arasta. We're going to exile and get our own Nightmare Shepherd. I'll say go. We've got us in a little weird spot here. The Vraska's getting just enough value to get these tokens, so we can't really get too much value off this Eldest Reborn. And we're just going to have the early removal to kind of control the board enough to where it mattered. What the Eldest Reborn ideally is there for. Dread Presence is kind of helping to pick off stuff, but... Okay, now they got their Pelucanos down. Nice to find some kind of answer for that. You have another mana source. You're gonna deadweight your own Nightmare Shepherd token? Sure. Do we want Watery Grave? Kind of. Deal some damage to the Pelucanos. God-Eternal Bontu. Let's do 2 damage to the Pelucanos, so they lose 2 counters. So now it's a 3/3, so it's going to be a lot more difficult for them to actually do a whole lot with it. We'll play the Murderous Rider. I think I should play Bontu. Sack you. You. And some of these basics. Draw 5, refill. I should decline. Just let it go back. Say no attacks. Let's got the Bojuka Bog as well to kind of clean up their graveyard. Make it hard for them to escape their Pelucanos. Ideally, though, we get the Pelucanos in their graveyard first, but the way this game is playing out, I'm not sure we'll actually have that luxury. So now with the Massacre Wurm, these tokens are actually in our favor a little bit, but they're still at 15. But if we start directing damage at them, that might be just good enough. Looks like next turn we'll have 7 mana. So, or just 1 spell. We'll see what we draw though. It's a cheap removal spell. That'd be pretty nice. I'm gonna fight the Dread Presence. Sure. Got some pretty good value off of that, so not too upset. Don't think we need Arena with Immortal Sun, and we're down to 12. Alright. Let's Massacre Wurm. So they lose 3 creatures here, take 6. Oh, Bojuka Bog. Alright, there we go. Whew. So not having the early removal really gave him a chance to kind of hang in there, but eventually we were able to find it. Golden Demise didn't seem amazing. Let me see. I mean, they do have these 2/2s. 3 2s and 2 1s. Order of Midnight. So it still kind of does a lot. I think we need to find room for these Leyline of the Voids. Probably want Noxious Grasp and take out the Edicts. Still a lot of creatures that Heartless Act hits. Care about Thoughtseize. Also Grafdigger's Cage, so I can't get any more graveyard value. That should be fine. We'll try like that. Grafdigger is more for like the Muxus matchups and things like that. Obviously doing this day before the historic ban announcement, so we'll see how that plays out. So I might have to adjust the sideboard in the link, but for now this is the deck we're running. Here's our early removal. 4 lands and a blue source, so we'll keep that. So obviously, I'd like to see the Bojuka Bogs later, but since they're opening hand, we'll just drop it here on turn 1. Basically like a tap land. Like a dual land or whatever. So we have 2 mana open next turn, and we just come in untap with our Drowned Catacomb after that. Alright, so we got 2 early game removal pieces and a Massacre Wurm to maybe help clean up a little bit later on. Phyrexian Arena would be pretty nice. Alright, another removal spell. I'm not going to complain too much since we know our opponent's running lots and lots of creatures. It's like Heartless Act will hit everything except for the Pelucanos. It's fine though. Yeah, other ways of dealing with that. No 2-drop. Well, that was the Immortal Sun, so once we get up to a 6, we'll have some nice card draw going. Surely you have some creatures there in your creature deck. Maybe something to kill. Mire Triton. Turn 3, Mire Triton. And just milled 2 lands. Probably not what they wanted. I'll eliminate that. Spit it off the board. Play a Catacomb and say go. This way we keep the swamp in hand, so just if we do happen to draw a Dread Presence, we can play the Dread Presence and follow it up with a swamp and get some immediate value. Turn 5 is the ideal play for the Dread Presence, so it's kind of nice having the Presence and the Kaervek, because you can just go on Kaervek on 4, make your opponent's creatures smaller, and then turn 5 you can Dread Presence and hopefully follow up with a swamp to get some immediate value, whether it's card draw or killing something. Boneyard Lurker. Okay, so got some Mutate. That's cool. We just want to keep their board clear. Fetid Pools. Alright, so now we're curving out, so we got our Immortal Sun coming down next turn. Whatever creature they play, we kill it, and we're Immortal Sun, and then we start going off with the card draw from there. They're in Golgari colors, so they could have Return to Nature, could be running Gem Razor if they're running Boneyard Lurker to maybe mutate and kill our Immortal Sun, but they have it, they have it. Do have the Massacre Wurm, and if they don't have a way to deal with our Immortal Sun, then we're going to get some nice value off of it. And if we keep their board clear, then they can't really mutate, so I'm missing double green anyway for that. Ooh, Leyline of the Void, that's a spicy meatball. But we want to get our card draw engine online here first. If they want to spend their turn destroying the Immortal Sun, then so be it. Either way, you probably want to get this Leyline down as soon as possible. And the Leyline might just be actually better in this matchup than Immortal Sun, so they want to kill that, then so be it. Opponent holding party here for some reason. Let's play Leyline and Bojuka Bog. So there goes your graveyard. Looking at the graveyard, trying to do something. Back for more. Well, everything else goes away. Seems like it's pretty expensive for what they're trying to do. 6 mana to have a creature come back out of your graveyard and fight something. It works with Mire Triton, I guess. You know, Death Touch. Oh, Pelucanus. Well, they need to find some answers for these guys. Watery Grave is not it. I think we just Massacre Wurm because it's a nice 6-powered creature to trade off with any of theirs. And the +1 boost for the Immortal Sun, so 7/6. If they attack all, do we block the Boneyard Lurker and let them hit with the Pelucanus? I doubt they attack both though. That was super cute. Sudden Spinnerets. You got me. Well, we're down to 11. Noxious Grasp. Well, that'll deal with a Boneyard Lurker nicely. Let's play you. And let's Bontu, so have mana open to do some stuff. Let's sack all of our swamps just to draw 3. We want more than that. We'll draw 4. I'll be too greedy. A couple Dread Presents with a Watery Grave, so that's pretty cool. Castle Locthwain as well if we need it. But I don't imagine our opponent's going to be in this for too much longer. Gonna try to mutate. Or nope, gonna Demonic Embrace. Oh, we got the answer. That's why we held that up. I imagine they'll be conceding here just like that. Alright, up against the Roughnecks. I don't know if they're Rico's Roughnecks. Triple Massacre Wurm and 1 land. So it's like that today, huh? Alright, Massacre Wurm to the bottom. Water Grave here on turn 1. Alright, Water Grave on turn 2. You gonna give me some targets for these kill spells? Oh, Grixis. Here comes Thought Erasure. No Thought Erasure? What kind of a Grixis player are you? Oh, we'll get our Arena down. Or try to. Maybe they have a counterspell? Nope. They're just bluffing. Holding in full control. You got some other instant you don't want to use here. Knight of the Ebon Legion. She faced off against something like this earlier. I'm not sure what is going on. It's like this Grixis sort of aggro with like Knight of the Ebon Legion and like a bunch of Bolosses and stuff like that. Bontu's Reckoning. Glory Bringer. Wow, this is a ton of hate. All the hate in your heart, opponent. And you kept a 2-lander with all those? Man, you're worse than me. You are worse than me. Do we punish them for being stuck on lands? They got the Lightning Strike. I guess we give them a target for Lightning Strike, get it shuffled back in. Lightning Strike out of their hand. We have Eliminate for the Bone Crusher Giant. Oh, they can't find lands. Nice. Well, we got our Arena going. Drowned Catacomb. Just Immortal Sun. We play the Dread Presence, we just want to get some kind of value off of it. Hey, there's their 3rd land. Holding up that stomp. They don't want to get a creature online. They just want to hold up that stomp. That's gonna make the difference here. Kaervek. Dread Presence. Swamp. 2 damage. This in double black to wipe our board, but they have they drew another lightning strike. Alright, I think I just want to field here. I'll blow up their Drowned Catacomb, see if they have a black source. A basic. Trigger our Dread Presence. They do. I'm going to pick away your life total. And say go. So Immortal Sun shuts down well, they're Planeswalkers, so I'll probably take the Contempt. Yep. They're not doing anything else, so we're happy with that. I think if I them, we'll get this Bonecrusher Giant down. But now they know about all of our cards. Just swamp. If they don't kill us, we're going to Eldest Reborn. Doesn't do anything now, but it will make them discard, and we'll get their Bolus back. Which is pretty cool. Alright, double removal here. Lightning Strike and Stomp. You got it. I'm actually going to cycle this, try to find some more answers here. Another Swamp. Castle Locthwain. Another Arena. Wow. We are getting just terrible answers here. Let's get another arena going. And do we want anything? We can't really use Bolus, and Knight probably isn't good enough. Let's just exile. I'm gonna get one of these Glory Bringers out, maybe. We got creatures in our own yard. That's gonna probably make a more meaningful difference. Just gonna play your Bonecrusher out. I'll take 2. Dread Presence. A Watery Grave. Put you down to 2. Bontu. Use a arena and a couple of lands, maybe. Okay, opponent has seen enough. Eliminate does hit the Bonecrushers, but not really good enough. The Negates, Tail's End, Thoughtseize. I want the Thought Distortion as well. Golden Demise can come out. 2 more cards. Massacre Wurm not as good. We'll shave 1. I guess Kaervek not as good either. Curve's kind of over the place now, but that's okay. We'll make it work. We'll make it work. See if we can get Thoughtseized and Thought Erasure out of the game here. Good old Grixis. He kept a super greedy hand and got punished for not drawing any more lands. All those 5 mana spells with a 2-lander. A Knight of Avon Legion, but that's a pretty easy target. Well, if we don't get Thoughtseized here, then we're in a good shape. Sweet. Definitely want to do this first. Alright. So they have Cut Ribbons, Brazen Borrower. Misclick there. That's fine. That's fine. I'll just play you. Ash can hold that Petty Theft. Okay. Nicol Bolas. Yeah, we'll Tails End that. The Tails End or Negate. We'll get the presence online and just hope we don't get punished. Maybe we'll just go for the Petty Theft. Wow, these Hour of Devastation. That is totally fine. Third Thoughtseize. Well, we're stuck on 4 lands, and they're all the lands this time. Earthshaker, Kenra, really? We can immortalize it next turn. Scarab God, but we have no lands. Maybe the better play was to take 2, Chainer's Edict, and then hold up Heartless Act the following when they try to immortalize it. We're stuck on lands here, and Scarab God could obviously help out with that, but that's fine. Last thing I immortalize is it exiles it, so I can't just keep repeating it. Our opponent was stuck on lands, and now they're getting all the lands. That is Arena for you right there. There we go. Scarab God. You can lightning strike it. So if they don't draw Stomp, I guess if they want to spend 5 damage on a Scarab God, just it goes back to our hand, then so be it. They are, wow. It's better than Vraska's Contempt, which I would assume they'd be running, but... and now they play their Bone Crushing. Scarab God back to our hand. Thought Distortion. Well, we picked apart their hand pretty good, so that's kind of a dead card at this point. Alright, now we got... just try to hold open these negates, and we're in a good spot. There's a land. I love that. Just pass. If they don't do anything, we'll exile something. Yeah, I guess we'll negate that. Don't love it, but let's not give them a chance to take away something good. Do we want to draw? No, we're at 10. I'll get rid of that. Start swinging and hope they keep drawing dead. They did. Wow. Swan Song? So that's pretty hardcore. Earthshaker Kenra, you got me. take that. We'll take your Earthshaker, Kenra, and we'll take the game. Sweet. Stuck at the bottom of Platinum Tier 4. As happens, you play Jank all the time. But hey, we got a pack and a card. What do we got? Triumph. Not a very good card. Alright, course set 21. What do we got? Gems? We still got cards? Hey, we got a card. Azusa. That's not bad. Should be pretty sweet once we see Zendikar. Zendikar probably have some kind of a lands matter type of a theme, so maybe Azusa will see more impact. Alright, so yeah, this list felt pretty solid. I mean, pretty much anything with Scarab God is going to give you a reasonable chance. And then Splashing Blue is kind of nice because it just give you some answers like negates and things like that. Sort of splashing just a few of these. Could have gone on 2 negates, put in some other spell, Disdainful Stroke or something like that. But 3 negates and Tail's End. I like Tail's End because at least it gives you a little something to kind of obviously it counters Planeswalkers, which is kind of the main point of like negate and things like that. But also counters like Shark Typhoons and things like that. So that's pretty cool. And there's other activated abilities. You can maybe stop your opponent from ultimating their Planeswalker or something like that. It's any activated or triggered ability, and activating a Planeswalker, of course, counts. So Tail's End is kind of a nice little tech. It's kind of slipped on card a little bit. And we have lots of hand hate here since we are pretty creature removal based in game 1. So it's nice to have some more control answers here. Thought Distortion just has a 1 of. Seemed okay. Obviously, we bought in against Grixis in that matchup and didn't really matter because our opponent just kind of didn't have much card draw, so they didn't have a way to ways to refill, and we were able to kind of Thoughtseize out their key stuff early on. We got pretty lucky with drawing into all that. Yeah, Kaervek's a pretty cool card. Definitely other ways you can build around this, but obviously with Kaervek and Immortal Sun, the synergy is pretty sweet, and Massacre Wurm as well. But obviously, if you're running against like a controller style deck that doesn't have a ton of creatures, then it's a little awkward. But still have a 6 power dude with Massacre Wurm, and then Kaervek is it's a 3/2. So it always gives you some way to pressure your opponent. And Dread Presence is pretty nice, especially you get multiples of these out and start doing stuff with swamps in play, getting nice value off of that. So maybe 2 Kaerveks for presence might be a little bit better way to run it. Otherwise, the rest has felt pretty solid to me. And yeah, Eldest Reborn, God-Eternal Bontu, being able to kind of sack those Phyrexian Arenas. Didn't come up under too much pressure where that was really too relevant, but you can definitely see how that would matter in a lot of situations. Yeah, and then the Trainer's Edict, if the game does kind of drag on against mid-rangey matchups, being able to get the 7 mana and then flash it back, it's pretty sweet value. And obviously we have Golden Demise to kind of clean up some of those early aggro. You can also look at like Ritual of Sits maybe, but our 4-drop slot is already pretty full with Kaervek and Dread Presence and things like that. Like we only have 1 Vraska Contempt, and that's something you might want to get like a second one in here as well. But yeah, otherwise the list feels pretty fun. You can definitely tweak it to your particular liking, but yeah, Scarab God, just a super sweet card. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, make sure you jank with a purpose.